Morning team, it's me, your favourite, Jordan at the screen, and today I wish to talk to you about this Laci Green affair, a revelation thing that's happening, how she's deciding now to start to have conversations with those on the other side, the anti-feminists or the non-feminists, the anti-SJWs, which looks to be quite interesting, but reason and experience will suggest that she's going to go down the exact same path that they all go down, and that ultimately she will start to come over to our side, but oh, my phone's going off, but not for the reasons we would like. So let's work our way through this, and I'm going to cast a few predictions of what I think is going to happen. So what I just said a moment ago about seeing this before is that I have seen this so many times where people on the other side have decided, of their own volition in most cases, that they're going to start listening to us. They're going to start asking questions. They're going to start picking away and trying to figure out what's going on. And naturally, things always get a bit haywire for them. The big example I can think of at the moment is Cassie Jaye. And Cassie, when she made her film, The Red Pill, was hit with a lot of abuse from her own side. And I actually discussed this with her, and discussed with her about her changing teams, that is, leaving the feminist camp and almost coming over to us. You can see that here.
But so when we received all that support, that's when I saw bloggers, journalists, writers that were feminists coming to attack me and smear my name and my reputation and discredit me, and even people who supported my previous work coming to attack me for making this film, and the film wasn't even completed. But I couldn't believe the amount of backlash I got from feminists and also publications that I have trusted for a long time, writing outright lies about me, and they're feminist-leaning publications, and so that contributed to having to drop the label.
So just before we end, because we're going to have to be quick, put into more simplistic terms, ultimately what it was that turned you away from the feminist label wasn't necessarily the issues that men face, but was the actions of feminists towards you that turned you away from them.
Yeah, the latter. Thank you for defining that. I never thought about it in that way, but yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
Because as an MRA, a lot of our work is how to get people to sympathise with our cause, especially people on the other side of the camp, because, whilst it is a war, you have to go,
sorry.
I was going to finish my sentence, but it's been wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
And so one thing you notice from that clip is Cassie says that, or that I put it to her, and then she realises that the reason she changed it wasn't necessarily because of the issues, but because of the way her so-called friends and peers treated her. And that is a trend that I've seen occur far too many times. That the reason they switch camps is not because they hear our stories and think, oh fuck, you have it bad, because that doesn't seem to play any party to their decision. Instead, what influences them is, oh fuck, I'm getting it bad, therefore I'm going to change teams. That's what influences them. And so, what I would have liked to have done if the assistant hadn't interrupted and said that the interview had to stop, I wanted to then follow up with the question of how Cassie was able to hear all this information from our opposing team, and then hear all the information from her side, and how she was able to reconcile that and still stick to the feminist guns. Because if I could have got that information out of her, it'd been very fucking useful. A very good example would be when she went to meet Harry Crouch, and he spoke about the young man who was denied access to seeing his kids and blew his brains out, when she talked to Fred Hayward, and he spoke about how he received abuse. That's two examples I'm giving. I'm very good at sticking to one example. But yeah, how he spoke about the abuse he'd received, and when he went to the cops, and the cops said to him, if you come to us and she's even so much as broken a fingernail hitting you, we're going to arrest you. Now, I want to know how she was able to reconcile that with Catherine Spiller saying to her that domestic abuse is just a clean term, when actually they mean wife beating, because it's not little girls beating on little boys, it's little boys beating on little girls. It did make me wonder how she could sit there and hear blatant fucking lies from the feminist camp and then see these men who are obviously hurting, who've been obviously abused by the system and abused by the women in their lives, and not think to herself, maybe feminism is wrong. If I could have got that information out of her, how she's able to maintain that cognitive dissonance, that would have been very useful for helping to convert people over. But beggars cannot be choosers, as they say. So back on to Laci Green. So what I think is going to happen with the Laci Green scenario is already happening with the Laci Green situation, is that people are beginning to ostracize her and cut her out for daring to give a platform to our team. Steve Jaye said that he would not... What's the tweet? I'm going to put up on screen so you can read it, because I can't remember it. But that's what Steve Jaye said. And what happened to Cassie is going to happen to Laci Green, and that is my prediction for how exactly it's going to pan out. She's going to receive abuse from her so-called friends and peers. She's going to go, fuck, I don't like these people anymore because they're being mean to me. I'm going to go to the anti-feminists because they're being nice. And I don't say that to have a dig at Laci as a sort of personal attack. I say that because that's what's going to happen, and it is a very human decision and a very human action to make. You know, you want to be friends with people who are nice to you, and you know, you're not going to be friends with people who are mean to you. It's almost kind of childlike, you know, irrespective if the friends who are nice to you are espousing bollocks. But they convince you to stay, don't they? Because they sweet talk you and they treat you nice and they convince you that the other people are mean and they're horrible, and you buy into it. But yeah. So, what our plan of action will be with the whole Laci Green situation is to welcome her. You know, she has a nice ass. Nope, she should be a nice asset. She'll be a useful asset. Very, very informed of the feminist group, having been involved with them. She knows what they're about. She knows what they think. She knows how they think. You know, having been one. So we do need to welcome her in, make sure these debates aren't rah, 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 we hate you because you said this and you did that and blah, 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 you're evil. It needs to be very open and empathic. But, you know, the men's movement is very much like that. The anti-SJW movement is very much like that. The anti-feminist movement is very much like that. So I can see her jumping ship, swimming over to our ship and climbing aboard. It will be very interesting to see how it all turns out. Yeah. Anyway, that's just a few mindless rambles I wanted to get out whilst I was drinking my coffee before I go out for the day. I hope I provided some food for thought, and catch you in the next one. Toodle pip.